My pleasure to each week have a great guest that I'm a fan of. Normally, that's how it works. We find, diverse guests that we really dig. This guy is somebody I look up to. He was one of the people that originated the death rock genre back in the day. Had videos on MTV. He's an artist in many different types of art, actually, not just music. But I'd like to introduce Patrick, formerly of Community FK, and I think still of Community FK. Patrick, hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Thank you,
Patrick. Hello.
Yeah, thank you for making time to be on the show, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's great.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of psychedelia, so I know you're probably happy to be on a show that's not playing just straight, stuff that you hate or something.
Yeah. Well, I have a very esoteric taste, eclectic taste. I collect all kinds of types of music on vinyl and just however format it comes in, and I just love all the stuff you guys are playing. It's really cool.
Oh, thank you, man. Me and Sister Tracy both kind of take credit. We do 50-50 of picking out the music and all that good stuff. Where are you located at?
Right now I'm in the Southwest. We're living out in the Southwest and New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had no idea, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah. We just needed. We're kind of nomadic that way. Sometimes Sherry and I, my wife, will get a little restless, and just let's go here, and see what that's all about. So, we left. We were in Seattle for a long time, and we left Seattle and came here.
That's beautiful. That's one state I haven't spent a whole lot of time in, but I know there's so much beauty in New Mexico.
Wait, New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, you dig it. There's places out here that are very magical.
Yeah, there's. I've been wanting to check out the Ram Dass Temple out there for so long, or
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, I grew up with him when he was still young and vital and groundbreaking in some of his ideas, and I love Ram Dass. I think it was really great.
Yeah, and we actually have some friends who live in New Mexico that we have been meaning to visit, so we'll have to do that. Cool. Yeah, cool. Definitely.
You'll have to do a broadcast out here sometime. Out here.
That'd be fun.
They're in Taos, New Mexico, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great place out there. Very heavy out there.
Yeah, Bhagavan Das's daughter lives out there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, I hear, speaking of daughters, I hear you're going to have Link Ray's daughter on.
That's going to be a good one, man. Beth Ray.
God, I love Link Ray. I'm a huge collector. I love him. I think he's incredible.
Yeah, we were just currently saying the same thing off the air. I can't wait to talk to her about his legacy and just play a bunch of his music and stuff.
Yeah, I'll be listening to that. That's great. I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your support so much. Speaking of art, I know besides the music thing, what other types of art do you actually find yourself doing?
I do collage, photo montage, but I do old school paper, scissors, glue. I don't use any kind of CD stuff or software or any of that kind of crap. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great for whoever does that. And a lot of people do. There's a collagist I know who uses nothing but that, and he's pretty great. He said I inspired him, so he went software. And I don't know, there's something more organic about the process of putting something together with paper, scissors, glue, taking a picture of it, adding to it, taking another picture of it, things like that. I do, I paint now and then when I have time and steady of mind. Right now, there's so much chaos in the world that sometimes it's kind of hard to focus. But one of these days, I'll get back to painting with that kind of medium again. But I really do love Dada, surrealism, German expressionism. I love a lot of classic art. Pre-Raphaelite, all that kind of stuff. I just think it's fantastic, and it's timeless, and we're still talking about that, still looking at it.
Yeah, and it's so
hard to be preserved.
It's so hands-on when you're talking about the using scissors and glue and you're cutting stuff up. I remember, producing fanzines back in the early 80s and doing exactly what you're talking about, and it was so gratifying, so DIY and just gratifying. Yeah,
it's a labor of love, too. You're doing it because you love doing it.
Totally.
And other people like it, that's great,
Yeah, same with radio. We produce these shows, and we're community radio. And after all the years in corporate radio, we finally found our true calling, and it didn't have anything to do with making money. It had to do with just making art. Radio for the love of preserving the old school radio show. Yeah,
well, see, that was going to say, I grew up with Tom Donahue when he started KSAN, and it was commercial free, and it was the beginning of album format.
FM
more
radio.
Albums than track cuts. Yeah. And they would play 17-minute cuts, and that just totally inspired me. I mean, I love that. And then listening to something like that in the background while you're creating a collage or photo montage or something like that, it just feeds each other. It feels so good,
Yeah, and there's a network of folks that listen to this show because I've been on 8 different stations in 21 years, and every one of the stations have had live streaming. So people kind of tend to follow me to the next station, and to where it's gotten pretty awesome. And
that's amazing lifestyle.
Speaking of going back in time, back in like 78 when Community FK started to make your mark, you were like known as one of the originators of the quote unquote death rock genre. Were you hanging out with like Don Bowles and that crew at all at the same time?
Yeah, well, here's a funny thing. I had done some work previously as a vocalist for studios. It was a very lucky situation. Someone asked me to do that. They'd seen me sing somewhere, and I said, yeah, of course. And I ended up working with Ken Scott, Bowie's producer, and he was the Beatles engineer. And that just happened. It just happened. And then, punk, I discovered the Sex Pistols before they had really released anything. And I started to get into the English punk scene from over there. And I thought, well, they're in Nevada. They had an artist named Jamie Reed, who did all their covers, 45 covers and things like that. And the cut-up kind of thing, the Borosian kind of thing, which I'm totally into as well. And I thought, I want to start my own band because I want to do something new. Punk is awesome, but by that point, in a lot of places, it was already considered done. Then the record companies came in and exploited it and all that stuff. But I want to do what I want to do, so I thought, well, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to incorporate all these kinds of things. And looking for a drummer was the hardest part, as it always is. And so for a while there, Don Bowles sat in with us just to help out, just to hang out and things like that. And we rehearsed at a place called 333, and it was run by a guy named David Seville, believe it or not, the same name as that guy that had the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Same name, though. I thought it was him. I thought he was lying to me when he told me he was.
Is this before 45 Grave started then?
No, it's right when they were founding 45 Grave, actually.
Because
we were kind of kindred spirits, We'd hang out then. We'd hang out at Mary's house. She had a house on Westmount off of Melrose, and they had a nice little back, like little mini flat back there where they formed their band and they rehearsed and stuff. And I think John started Vox Pop back there.
Oh, yeah.
But he was such a nice guy. He still is. He's a wonderful guy. I love him.
Yeah, he's a friend, and he's been on the show many times. I love Don.
Oh, has he? Yeah, I adore him. I think he's great. He's got a great backstory, too, which I enjoy.
He's such a legend.
But, yeah, he sat in with us, and we were looking for a drummer. He said, well, I'll help out. And it was a great experience. Really.
So
amazing drummer.
He gets a lot of credit for forming the death rock genre. Do you think you guys both kind of share that same credit?
I think so. I don't want to
Right, I'm just curious
about it. But what happened. You don't just go, hey, we're going to start a death rock movement, or hey, we're going to start a death rock band.
No,
that isn't how it is. It's just like you do your thing.
Yeah.
And people come and call it that, or it becomes that, or I really can't explain that. He was starting 45 Grave then, and we saw their first show, and we were very supportive of them, and they were supportive of us. It was a great time, actually.
God, I bet that area, that time in LA history was just magical. Like Christian Death, for instance, everyone loves Roz and Christian Death. And a friend of mine, he's currently in jail, but he's a big listener. And he talked to me a couple weeks ago. When I told him you were coming on the show, he peed himself. He's like, oh my God, I'm a huge fan of Patrick. And he said something about a show that you did, either the last Christian Death show or maybe one of the last time Roz performed. But he said you performed with them or him or something about that.
Well, there's a couple of instances where it was a Shadow Project show, and it was at the Hollywood Stardust Ballroom, I think it was.
Okay.
And he had asked us to open for him, so I just did an acoustic set, but I did like some T-Rex songs, I did some of my own stuff, things like that. That was one time. Another time was when some friends of ours, mutual friends of ours, had passed away suddenly, and so there was a kind of like a wake party for them at a club, and we sang the Virgin Proof song, Pagan Love Song, together.
I love that song.
We sang that together, and Jatan was singing with us as well. But we had never performed on the same bill. You can believe that. And throughout this whole time, we had never once done that. But we had seen each other. There was a time when we were both headlining in San Francisco, like 1984, I believe it was. and they were playing somewhere, one part of town. We were playing somewhere, another part of town, and it was the next day. And you always have to go do something, and go find something to eat or something like that together with your whole entourage. So we're on one side of the street, and we're walking this one direction, and then coming back this other direction is Roz and his entourage, and we just waved at each other and said, hey, and it was really funny. We had no idea, we were going to both be in that same area. We just happened to be there. And
that's great.
The ships in the night, kind of thing passing by.
Totally. And
we've never really played together. We hung out a lot, There was a bunch of times we actually hung out together. It was really lovely.
That's awesome. I wish I could have met Roz. Thanks for sharing that with me, man.
No, he was a great person. He's still lovely. He's still here.
Yeah, he is. And his music that he left behind is just timeless, and I listen to it all the time. I love Roz, man.
Yeah, it's endless. Yeah.
It was cool too because you guys broke through like some of the commercial airwaves a little bit back in '85 when MTV was playing your video of Something Inside Me Has Died. How did you guys manage to kind of crack that market?
Well, I really had nothing to do with that, but it was a good record. It was a very good record.
Oh, very good.
And I'm proud of that record. And we had people around us, like the people who made the video for us. The production company wanted to do it. We didn't pay for it. We couldn't afford that. But they loved us, and they thought, well, let's do this. And so I worked with someone who had a storyboard idea for the song. And so we kind of worked on that and kind of went with it. And I had no idea that she showed it to a couple of people. They freaked out over it because it's art, when you think about it. We wanted to make an artistic statement, not just do some rock video. I mean, that's not us,
Yeah.
So it came out the way it did. It was later put into in New York at the Museum of Modern Art as under a thing called Video as Art.
Wow.
And that video was in the museum for a while, and Elvira saw it, and she was putting together her Halloween special.
Huh.
So she chose us to be like the fourth video shown. We were between Bauhaus and The Cure, which isn't a bad place to be.
Nice.
And showed that for a couple of years going, and that helped. But the great shows, like 120 minutes. Oh God, there was another show. I can't remember the name of it right now. But they did groundbreaking artists. They showed Bauhaus, Neubauten, all these amazing artistic bands. And nowadays it doesn't seem like there are many programs like that.
No.
It's missing, that artistic value of the bands, good bands like that.
Night Flight and the Cutting Edge and Night Flight and so many of those cool shows that used to be around.
Yeah, Night Flight. We were on Night Flight. We were on there recently as well. They did a reboot kind of thing. I can't remember what it was called. I'll try to find the link and send it to you.
Yeah, we Sister and Tracy and I saw something about the retro Night Flight thing. It's so fun. What a great era, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff, man. I loved all that time. I lived during that time. That was television for me, and I didn't watch a lot of television, because we were busy doing stuff, creating things, doing stuff, playing in clubs, touring, things like that. But
you had a lot
when I could watch TV, I loved Night Flight.
Yeah, totally. And over the years, you had so many different band members, a lot of really really talented folks you've worked with, including at least a couple different members of a band I love, which is you've had members from the band Sex Gang Children you've worked with.
Yes, I did. In England, when I went to England, I had the Sex Gang Children Mach 3, I guess it was, where you had a guy named Kevin on drums, had Cam Campbell on bass, and and then it was me. And also Dave Roberts, who founded the band, he played with me a few times. That was a really, really amazing experience. I have to tell you, great musicians. And when we toured with them in '84, and they used our back line, and I got to watch them like every night, from the side, and it was amazing every night. It was incredible to be able to do that.
I bet.
And we had a great camaraderie. When we played San Francisco, I took them to City Lights bookstore. They'd never seen it before. So we went there and hung out and bought a bunch of books, and they were freaking out how great it was. And you've been to City Lights books, right?
I have. I love the history of the all the beats and stuff. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
so,
it's a great place with such history, man.
Oh, yeah. And even that picture of Dylan with Michael McClure and Ginsberg and Ferlinghetti and I can't remember who else, but they're standing that alley, right next to it, right behind it, between it and another building, smoking a joint, I thought it was amazing.
So much.
That's how many people have been there,
All the Kerouac-inspired people and all that. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, great stuff.
And that takes me, we don't have a ton of time, but I would like to ask what you're doing these days. I know a person like you doesn't just stop doing art or music. What are you doing in 2020 so we can kind of flash forward to what's happening now currently?
No, I appreciate you asking. Well, we have our own studio. Sherry and I have a recording studio we put together. And this was years ago. And we've been recording and putting out stuff as much as we can. We are co-headlining the next upcoming WGT festival in Leipzig, Germany.
Wow.
We'll co-headlining with Sig Sig Sputnik, Twisted Nerve, and I can't remember the other band. But anyway, so that's something, I'm looking forward to that. But the whole thing about this COVID-19 situation, lockdowns and things, is going to make it kind of difficult to travel, and that really took the wind out of our wings for a while because we had a tour we were setting up. We have a reissue coming out. I don't want to mention what it is yet, but it's one of the classic albums. We're going to put that out, and it's going to be great. Looking forward to that. Helping design all of that, of course. But like I said, we had a tour we were going to do, and now that's not going to happen. So we're working on a new album, and I have a solo project, a side project also. The other side project that I have is more like a improvisational kind of avant-garde thing with the bass player. And Sherry does a lot in there once in a while when she's free. But so now it's just we pretty much had to regroup. We had to rethink how we reach out to everybody.
How we go forward. Yeah, things have changed, so I get it.
Yeah.
Well, and, I'd like to keep people posted on what you're doing. So I'm going to keep following, of course, what you're up to.
Yeah, I'll be following you, of course. I love your show. It's great. It's the first time I've ever heard it. It's really good. I like it.
Well, come back on and talk to us because we've been on 21 years, and we have a lot of people. Like Donnie Bowles has been on like 4 or 5 times. Rick Agnew, Jatan Damon's been on. I'd love to have you back.
Next time you talk to them, tell them all I said hello.
Well, I will.
And, it's our 43rd anniversary. Community FK. It's coming out as our 43rd anniversary.
Well, hey, congratulations on that. Seriously.
Yeah, it's great. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that being said, that'll go along with the reissue to celebrate for the next year, 2021, the WGT co-headlining performance. There's some tour dates in Europe being set up. Hopefully we'll be able to travel. That's the big deal right there. I'm really kind of worried about that.
Yeah.
But everyone should be free, man.
Fingers crossed, because we all feel the same way.
For everybody, man.
Yeah, many blessings and many thanks for making time to be on the Church of Rock. We'll let you go, and we're going to.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been an honor for us too. We're going to play one of your songs, actually, just for the listening audience. We're going to play "Something Inside Me Has Died." Sister Tracy, would you like to say goodbye?
Thank you, Tracy.
Yes, thank you so much, and. Sorry that I couldn't.
I hope we speak again. I hope we do, and I'd love to be on the show again. I'd love to talk to you when we have something to promote and to chat about. There'll be some stuff coming up. I'd love to talk to you guys again.
Absolutely. We look forward to it, and thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, and I'll be listening. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Rock on.